Okay, we're going to speedrun this shit. Another day, another Yap session. But this time's Yap session is going to be a slightly bit longer because I was attending K-pop concerts across India for an entire week. So my opinions on episode 5 and 6 are going to be like a mashup. Man, do I have some opinions about episode 5. Because imagine this, right? I'm tired after traveling in the godforsaken city that is Mumbai. And when I finally reach my hotel, when I think the day is over, Luna's performance is just dropped. No explanations, no backstory, no nothing. Just when I thought that yes, finally I've understood mSnake's bullshit rules, they pull this new strategy. I really had to miss the one live stream that, the rules are just made up even more. But that aside, we're just going to continue evaluating or giving my opinion, I guess, on the remaining groups of the identity mission from episode 4. The crewone could have actually eaten in this because it would finally give them an opportunity to finally go deep into their formation concept for RTK, because again, they were created for RTK. But the major problem for them was they have already done the creation story, kind of, not really. They've already done it throughout RTK, so it was kind of a lose-lose situation for them. Let me explain. Okay, what I meant by lose-lose situation is basically if they continued with the concept, people would just call them a one-trick pony. But if they did something different, which they did, people would just be like, oh, why didn't you just elaborate on your concept, because this is the perfect time to show your identity. Nor can I blame them for starting with the identity concept in the beginning itself, and here's why. Am I saying that they should have not incorporated the flower blooming and the hourglass? Absolutely not. They are a newly formed group for Road to Kingdom. They don't even have a song, so it's a good way to get the movement going and make people understand that what they are here for. They definitely needed a concept, and what better than the identity concept to make someone connect with you. What they could have done in the initial parts, at least, the flower concept of blooming is overdone. The hourglass was kind of a nice touch. Hourglass is also rebirth, because moment you turn the hourglass, it's a new beginning. So I feel like hourglass should have been the focus more, and they could have incorporated it in parts of their choreographies, not exactly making an hourglass, but the sands of time or something like that. It would have been really nice. So I kind of understand the reason behind the crewone choosing Harry Potter as the concept, because it's like Gryffindor and Slytherin, mortal enemies essentially. They are teaming up to fight against the greater evil, which is mSnake. I agree that their stage was definitely one of their better ones. It was their best one in terms of group, that synchronization. The magic tricks, they were definitely impressive, and they were memorable. I definitely took the magic trick, especially the book turning into the hat one. It went back with me. But the concept wasn't blending well with the songs they had chosen. They had chosen to mash up two of their songs because justb and atbo are the crewone. So justb chose their song Getaway and atbo chose Attitude. And the remix was good. It was not bad. I just personally didn't really get why or how they managed to reach to the conclusion as to why we would choose Harry Potter. I definitely did want to see the behind the scenes, but mSnake, just hides the part which are actually crucial for helping the audience connect with the fucking group. Just get concept campy as fuck. I have no fucking complaints there, and it fits with the can't stop shining vibe. They wanted to bring forward the wondrous vibe, right? And somewhat also of a fairy tale. So if we think fairy tales and if we think wondrous, what do we think? Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland. So the concept was not the issue for me. For me, the major issue was the inclusion of Eye of the Storm and the remixing in general for the performance. I believe younite and Tempest had similar ideas in terms of conception of their stages. They knew that doing a fully bright song will not get them much, or it will not leave a big impact on the audience. So in the first half, we'll do something serious or tough, and in the second half, we will transition on to the slightly brighter, joyful one. But it worked more in younite's favor as opposed to Tempest, and I'll tell you why also. younite had two acts in the beginning. Act 1 was with the waterfalls, with those blue curtains, and it was more serious and emotional. And Act 2 was Younite Kingdom, which was more joyful and bright. But they managed to keep an Act 3 where Act 1 and Act 2 intersected, which made it a cohesive stage in general. Tempest had 3 acts. So first was Eye of the Storm, second was like a dance break, and then was the Can't Stop Shining stage. Unfortunately, there was a harsh divide in between these three parts as opposed to Unites, because the way the song was remixed itself, where first it was hip hop, then it was like, a hype dance break, and then it was Bright, which personally didn't gel right with me. Am I saying that all these things cannot be in one song? No, absolutely not. The best example I think is DDD from The Boys. In DDD, they did a complete reverse Tempest, where first it was a magical, bright, somewhat like dreamy intro. Then it went into fully energetic, and then it went into the little more tough with the dance break. The dance break was put in the end, the tough part was put in the end. I feel like that worked better because, it built up the hype. Another thing was their costume. Look, I'm not shitting on that. It fit the theme. It was good. It made sense with the campy Alice in Wonderland aesthetic. But from a visual standpoint, right, I feel like because their stage was already so heavy in terms of elements of Wonderland, their costumes were also that, and because of that, they were blending in rather than standing out from their background. And especially this is most noticeable when in the third act, I would say, as per my description, where the glitter scene is there, right? That's when they slightly stand out more because their background has become tame essentially. And that's why I feel that part, although I do love that glitter dance, I really do like it, but that part stood out the most because they themselves as a group and as people stood out from the background. Honestly speaking, I don't really have that much comment for ONEUS because here's my bias coming through. Like, yeah, they gave a very ONEUS performance. Like, yeah, this is what I expected out of them. So that's why maybe I feel like I wasn't wowed. But maybe other fandoms must have been wowed because I don't think they've got to see ONEUS's crazy side more. They've done the Mad Max Fury Road concept in Shut Up Bago Crazy Hot 2. ONEUS this round realized, right, that this is their last chance to leave a lasting impact. They were very aware of the fact that yes, Luna is the fan favorite song, but would it leave an impact? Probably not. They were smart enough to reserve that for the next round. Also, I want to highlight the absolute dog shit editing of the live stream. I first watched the live stream, and while watching the live stream, I was just like, oh, the lighting's bad. Oh, the stage looks kind of empty. Oh, the camera angles are not good. Because I was evaluating it through the full cams after that. And then I was like, it's fine. Everything's fine. I wanted to put forward how only watching it through live stream is also not the best idea. You really need to watch it through the full cam version also. So the way this episode works, every time I explain new rules, this episode would be the elimination round. But because this is Ace of Ace, that ace can also save you from elimination, as in, there would be rankings both of team and of aces. If the team who ranked low in the team performance differed from the team that ranked low in the ace performance, from the last two teams, their aces would battle it out in the end to decide who will get to stay and who will finally get eliminated. So the last team from team performance was the crewone, and the last team from ace performances was the new 6. The crewone had 2 aces and TNX had 1 ace. Although he had 1 ace, he did fairly good. Honestly speaking, I enjoyed both their performances. I could see why the difference between the votes, it was 14/11. Also, I watched the live stream post Kyujung's news of leaving TNX. So throughout the live stream, I was just evaluating, did they know that he would be leaving? I really was trying to understand when he decided that he should be leaving. Don't know what really happened over there. Was RTK an instigation? Because literally even the crewone member, I don't remember who it is now, but he said that at that moment he felt like, should I even be an idol? So was Road to Kingdom a push for Kyujung? And with that, we end episode 5 speedrun. Okay, moving on to episode 6, where there are 2 rounds and more confusion. This is great time for me to go traveling all across India. There are 2 rounds. Round 1 is Ace round, where there will be 2 performances and they are labeled water and fire. So the teams have to select 1 ace for each, for water and for fire. The 1 ace will go to each team, and these teams will compete against each other. And I know it's very Boys Planet coded. Welcome to mnet survival shows. And the second round is the group performance, which is no limit, as in there is no limit, no restrictions, no rules, no nothing. You can do literally whatever the fuck you want. Episode 6 mainly focused on the ace performance, which was water and fire. Background, the songs and the choreographies were already created specially for them, so a major chunk of this episode was just them battling for the main part in these choreos. Out of the 2 teams, they were definitely more like a group in terms of sync and energy wise. Honestly, all of them ate. I wouldn't criticize even one of them. They all did really well. Even the low ranking ones did really well. Although I do feel like Hyuk deserved better, but I feel the reason like the lower ranking people suffered was mainly because of screen time and costumes. So screen time wise, it goes hand in hand with camera catching skills, where one needs to immediately catch which camera is like, recording them. And personally, I feel like Jaehyun was the one who understands that the best, because whenever he was on camera, you could immediately see him on, and even when he was off, like when the focus was not on him. I feel like Shion, I think he suffered a little too much, was because first of all, whenever the camera was focused on him, right, it was just a 1 second clip, and even when it was a little longer than 1 second, he wasn't directly looking at the camera, because I feel like the camera was a little too shifty also in his parts. And as for Seonghwan, aside from camera, I feel like costume did him dirty. Like for example, right, Hwanwoong, half his costume was black with that leather strap and half was white. He was still blending in the group while also standing out. Whereas Seonghwan, his entire top was white and his entire bottom was black. So he didn't really stand out. He just looked like part of the group. I get there's a common theme with the costumes, right? But this is where details truly matter and how much they make you stand out in the end. Fire's performance was something. You could not compare it with Water. Honestly, Water ate. But in this performance, I would definitely say Junseok ate. Like, in terms of expressions, in terms of body movements, even costume, devoured. They all deserve their ranks. The most lacking ace was in fact Lido from ONEUS, which did affect the performance a little in my opinion. So I kind of know that he was injured, and also some last minute part swaps were happening. I'm not really too sure. I just glanced on it on Twitter, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But basically, right, there was a huge lack of expressions on his face, and he looked like he was in pain, which he probably was. And as for Liu, right, yes, he definitely belt out that high note. Takes talent. But throughout the performance, there was a lack of expressions from his end. He was only showing a tough face, like compared to, let's say, Myungho or Junseok or even Taeyong. They all were showing a lot of expressions aside from tough. Overall, right, I understand that each dancer has a certain style of dancing. Like, one can be crisp, one can be hard, one can be flowy. But it was so visible that these aces were from different groups and they were just put together in this performance, like as compared to Water's performance. So Jaehyun and Taeyong won in their respective teams, and honestly, I was so happy for Jaehyun as a two moon, right? I was so happy when his name got announced as the first ranking, because honestly, the man deserves it. Even I wanted Myungho to win from his team, but I knew in my heart Taeyong would win, but I really wanted Myungho to win too. Now moving on to the group performances. So only the crewone and tempest performances were live streamed, so I'm only going to discuss that. I'm not going to discuss the other ones. They're just live on YouTube, by the way. You can watch them. The reason I'm not going to do it is because this video is already probably really long, because like I'm talking about 2 episodes and I have to edit this in like 2 days. I think it is their best performance so far. Like, choreography, well planned. Concept, well planned. Within concept, storyline was there this time. And their storyline had a twist while also like managing to incorporate Jimin, because in the previous episode, Jimin had injured his ankle. So it was a great way of incorporating an injured member. Their concept was like an army concept, and story was Jimin has been captured and the crew one was, deployed to rescue him. But the twist was within the crew one, there were spies who like had captured Jimin essentially. And honestly, it was a very bold move on their part to show traitors within a group, especially a group that unity is a main concept for them. But honestly, I loved it. So overall, they did really well. Disappointment is me. I really thought they would go for the Ready Player One concept, especially because I saw the headset in their VCR. But it was just the normal metaverse, like, or Matrix maybe. So overall, they were relying a lot on stunts to, impress, which would have worked. But sadly, they had some mismanagement on the back end team where Hyuk's wire stunt, like, they literally dropped him. Man still managed to like keep the show going and was belting out live vocals. So definitely props to him for that. But overall, the stage was kind of, like one note. I did like the box dance part. I thought like it would go into a storyline from that, about breaking the rules. Sadly, it didn't. So I kind of expected more from Tempest, especially because I was rooting for them since the first episode airing. So now I'm really excited for the next episode, especially because of Luna. But that aside, because not gonna lie, I've not been streaming the latest group performances, right? Because after coming back from concert where you are standing literally next to the speakers because you are media and you have to take photos and videos, it makes you really not want to listen to things for the next 1 month. But yeah, that aside, do let me know what you guys thought about the performances, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tune in for next week's episode's commentary. That's all for now.
Ciao.